Hi, Piero. Today I wanted to review part of a video that the College Board had provided for you. It was the one that went over the DBQ on imperialism. After they finished going over the DBQ, then they gave you information that you needed to know for the upcoming exam. So I wanted to have you watch that again. We'll watch it together. And then I'll have a few comments in between, okay? So let's get started right away with a review of what the College Board has provided.
All right, we're going to get into exam logistics, and I think it's you, Katie. Yeah.
So hopefully your teachers have gone over this with you. For every AP test, you're going to need an e-ticket. And so there's a couple of ways you can get this e-ticket. You can receive your e-ticket by email 2 days before each test. They are unique. You're going to get one for every exam. So if you have multiple exams, you're going to have individual tickets. So you need this e-ticket to check in for each exam you're registered for. So you can also, if you don't receive it in your email, you can also access your e-ticket in your student account on My AP, and there's the link. And of course, you can always come back to this slide if this is something that you haven't gone over. This e-ticket is only for you. It is not transferable. Obviously, don't share your e-ticket with anyone. You could lose your chance to test. And at this point, we actually have had some students who have emailed and said that they really love doing DBQs. They'd like to take the test now that they hadn't decided to take earlier. And unfortunately, they cannot accept any more registrations. And so you're going to make sure that you save your ticket when you get it. And if you look to the right, this is obviously not AP Euro. This is AP Bio. But when you get the ticket, that is how you're going to get to your exam, that yellow box you'll be clicking on. Perfect. So here, I know we've been saying this. You've been seeing us reference it every time we go over the calendar. And we are looking at a week from this Wednesday, May 13th, where I am in Florida. It's 4 p.m. I know where Todd is. It's 3 p.m. But make sure you know your time zone and your.
For us, for our exam, it's at 1 o'clock. We are Pacific time, so that means you're checking in at 12:30. And then the test will begin at 1 o'clock. Now, some people that had filled out the steps that I asked you to complete, they had different times. Everyone's time is the same. It is 1 o'clock, which means you're checking in at 12:30. So be sure that you correct that checklist that you completed. Your check-in time is 12:30. The test begins at 1 o'clock.
Logging on to that exam to go through the procedures 30 minutes before at least. So for my students at 3:30 for that 4 p.m. exam, they'll be logging on. But wherever you're taking the test, just be mindful of your time zone and be there 30 minutes early. So if you don't take the test in May, you will, if you have some kind of conflict, if you look to the right there with your May e-ticket, you're automatically going to receive a ticket for the June makeup exam, all right? You can also request a ticket if something happens during your May exam, but that is not an automatic getting of your June ticket. So there's a process that you're going to have to follow for that. But if you do nothing with your May ticket and you don't test on the 13th, then you will get this ticket for the makeup day. And the makeup day is Tuesday, June 2nd, right? And if you take a look at the times, again, I'm in the Eastern time zone, but I know we have lots of students that are on Pacific time. So just be mindful of what your time zone is, and you're going to check in 30 minutes prior. Just a quick, my own personal feeling about this. I really am encouraging my own students to, I know it's always like put off the test if you can. I don't think this is a good idea in any way If something happens during your May administration, at least you have a backup. If you do nothing in May and you choose to take it in June and something goes wrong, there are no other opportunities to test after June 2nd. So I really, really am encouraging all of my students, actually I'm telling them they have to take the test on May 13th.
Yeah, that's what we're telling our students as well.
Yep.
Okay, so how to submit your response? We get a lot of questions about that. So there are different ways you can submit. Exam questions are viewed by students in a web browser. We recommend you use Chrome or Firefox. They say you cannot use Internet Explorer. I don't know anybody who still uses it, but apparently people still use it. But Chrome is probably the best browser. Students can type or write their responses outside of the browser. They can then choose from 3 options to submit responses. So you can type it on Google Docs, you can type it on Microsoft Word, and then you're going to choose how to submit your responses. You can copy and paste a typed response. You can attach, like if you wrote it in Word, you just want to attach a document. You can attach a typed response, or you can attach one or more.
I'm going to be talking about this particular topic a little bit more in a couple minutes, so I'm going to jump ahead. And if at any time you want to watch the video in total, you can go to the College Board website where you did the reviews. This is the review that was on imperialism, so you can always come back and watch it yourself.
Account settings, and if you need to change your email, click update, because that's really like the #1 way you're going to get this ticket, although it should be there in your account as long as you can get into your account. In the subscriptions, confirm that you've checked the box to receive updates. It's important, getting your tickets an update. And then if you want, create a new contact with the email address in your address book so that that collegeboard@e.collegeboard.org. And if you can't get the emails, don't worry, your e-ticket will still be there. If AP Euro is your first AP exam, that should be there on the 11th. So we have time for you to, between the 11th and the exam, to make sure you're getting that. So that's your first step that you're going to do. The second step you're going to do is you're going to check your tech. So figure out, you have to make a decision about the best way for you to do this, and choose your device. Check that you have the appropriate device for how you're planning to create your response. Lots of students have asked if we need the lockdown browser. You do not need to use the lockdown browser. You do need to remove Grammarly if you have it as a plugin on your computer. All right, so that's really important. If you're using that, please make sure that you uninstall that on your computer while you're taking the test. We don't need world language, we can move on. And as you're choosing between handwriting and typing, keep in mind, obviously there's no graphs or diagrams with AP Euro, but if you have any of these other tests like calculus, chemistry, or stats, you might be more comfortable handwriting your responses, but make sure again that you're limiting it to those 5 pictures, and you're gonna have to scroll back and forth. So it might be a little clunky. For our exam, I kind of think doing it on a computer is really your best bet. That's just my personal preference, and I'm telling my students. All right, so you want to prepare your document. Obviously, one of the biggest things is time here. So figure out what kind of platform you're going to use. Are you going to use Google Docs, Microsoft Word, Notes, or something other than that? Auto save. I really think this is a good best practice. I'm really a fan of Google Docs because of this. Something happens and you lose your information, it's always there. If you're using a cloud document like Google Docs and you want to attach your document rather than cut and paste, remember that you'll need to download your response in one of 2 approved formats. So it can be a PDF, it can be a doc, it can be a text, and you're going to save it. Before test day, prepare your documents by already typing your AP ID and your initials at the top. Why would you want to do that during the exam? And then save it to a clearly labeled folder so it'll be easy to find. And for AP English, and of course for our exam, there's just one document that you need to, but on the top of every page, you need that AP number and your initials. All right, so if you're gonna do handwriting, that's fine, and that's okay. You're gonna use white paper, standard size, right, normal 8.5 by 11, a number 2 pencil or a pen with black or blue ink, And because the maximum number of pages you can attach is 5, at most you'll need 5 pages for like AP History or English. But it's unlikely that you would need to use as many pages for your responses. Which, so that actually, you may very well go into multiple pages for history. This is obviously a general slide. So just make sure that we're keeping that to 5 pictures.
Yeah, number your pages.
Yeah, definitely number your pages, just in case you, by mistake, submit them out of order. We can find the correct order for sure. And then I've already gone to the demo. A couple of students have emailed wanting to know why there's 2 questions in the demo before I read through this. Don't worry, there's no second question for AP Euro, so it's just the 1 question. But I definitely recommend practicing doing that submission. So even starting today, it was also available last week. You can access the exam demo at cb.org/apdemo, and that will allow you to practice the different ways to submit your responses. If you can't connect to this demo from how you plan to test, that will be a problem. You'll not be able to access the real exam on test day. So update your browser perhaps, and then try again. And if you still can't access the demo, then you can reach out. Maybe your school or your AP coordinator can help make sure that you get that ready. Make sure that you can access that on test day, because that's how you're going to do the questions.
I'll take you through 4 and 5 really quick. This is what you need on exam day. So make sure you read through those things. You need your e-ticket. We're going to talk to you about, hey, get all these things ready out in front of you. Make sure your browser is Chrome. That's the one that's recommended. You need a device. Make sure you have a connection. If you have some type of assistant technology that you need for your accommodations, make sure that's ready to go. As we talked about, make sure you have this. You can use class notes or study guides. You can use textbooks and other classroom resources. You can use previous assignments or assessments. You can actually even search on the internet if you want, but I'm telling my students don't, because it's going to be a black hole. You're not going to find what you need. It's going to take too long, and the clock is ticking.
And you certainly can't copy and paste things from there.
No, absolutely not.
Very important.
Somebody asked if you could print your documents, and yes, you can. Somebody even asked, well, if my printer's in another part of the house and it's a long ways away, can my parent bring my printed response to me? Yes, they just can't talk to you about that or give you any advice or anything. But if they're handing off a printout, that's going to be fine. Okay, so you can print out the documents. That's something you can do. Optional resources, class notes are good. Textbook, other classroom resources, previous assignments, calculators you won't need. Shared study notes must be downloaded to a student's device to prevent collaboration violations. Okay, so that's just that about that. Internet searches will waste your time, put you at risk of an exam violation, so just don't do it. It's not worth it. And then look, step 5 then is May 4th, that's today. You're going to receive an exam confirmation email today, AP ID, list of exams you've registered for. In the meantime, you can always check which exams you're registered for in My AP. And then 2 days before each exam, you're going to get your exam personalized e-ticket, AP ID. Remember, you'll need to click your e-ticket containing your AP ID to access your exam. Clicking on the box on the ticket is how you get in. Right.
I'm going to go quickly through these questions, and we'll just take them one at a time. Todd, you want to just go back and forth? And
I think we're just about finished with the review. If you wanted to see the review in total, again, you can go back to the imperialism review, and you can view it in total there. Okay, so what I want to talk about is the 5 steps before exam day. It says that you should go to collegeboard.org. Let's see if I see it there. Yes. It's number 4, AP Exam Day Checklist, cb.org/AP checklist. This is what I asked students to complete and either take a screenshot or copy it somehow and upload it for credit. This way I know that you're ready to take the exam. And so I'm encouraging people that did not do that to go back to the day that it was assigned, go through Google Classroom to look for the day and do the checklist, get it turned in, and get credit. So now I'm going to stop the presentation, and I'm going to bring up my notes that I would like to go over with you about the test that's fast approaching. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is I wanted to mention that if there's any review that you feel you're particularly weak on, that you would like to go back and listen to again, or maybe you missed it and it's a topic that you don't feel you know enough about, then go back to the College Board website and pick the video that you want to review. There are 33 videos. 2 of them were the DBQs that were for practice that you've just completed. Pretty much the remainder of them are topical. And remember that we're only responsible for periods leading up to World War I. So then on the day of the exam, here are my recommendations. My recommendations are that you have a blank sheet of paper next to you, that you have the Cornell notes that you took on the College Board reviews, that you have those next to you. Be sure they're tabbed by subject, because you do not want to be fumbling to try and find that information when, you know, time is of the essence. And let me just share with you that the only reason you would need these Cornell notes is to help you with your contextualization and to help you with evidence beyond the documents. Other than that, you're using the documents to build your argument. So really, you don't need a whole lot of, in-depth knowledge to complete the essay itself. You want your notes simply for contextualization and evidence beyond the documents. Okay, you should also have an outline of what your essay would cover, and that would include, of course, your contextualization. Remember, it needs to give historical background. Don't talk about what the documents already are communicating. Let us know what's going on in that period or what led up to that period. And it has to be more than 2 sentences. So some of you need to work on that, making sure that you have enough information to get that point. And then, of course, your thesis needs to take a position. So if it's asking you to evaluate something, that means you have to take a position. You're evaluating whether motives were more political or were more economic. You have to take a position. You have to say they were political or they were economic, and then you give a reason. And I was really pleased to see that a lot of students are doing this now, and their reason goes because. So they take a position and then they give a reason for that position. They say because. So those of you that are doing that, keep it up. And those of you who aren't, that's what you need to do. Again, let's look at when we have our thesis, we want our topic sentences to be as close to the argument as we wrote in the thesis. So remember, I used the chicken foot, and I asked you guys to kind of just, you know, use that as your topic sentence. So I hope that you will do that. It keeps you focused. It helps you remember what it is that you're arguing using the documents. Okay, so your body paragraphs, topic sentence. Each document, you say what it's about, you explain what it means, and you connect it to your thesis. That's why it matters. Also, be sure to use the best practices of citations, and at the end of each document that you've given information on, cite it. It's, you know, in parentheses, let the reader know that was document 1 or 2, whichever one it is that you're talking about. If appropriate and you feel it adds to your argument, go ahead and add evidence beyond the documents. That would be a point if you follow the guidelines of describing what that evidence is, explaining what it means, and connecting it back to the thesis. If you have time, tie it all together with a conclusion. And then, so that is basically the outline that I hope that you would have next to you so that you remember what parts you need to include in order to get the most points. And then the day before, the College Board instructors recommended, and I think it's a great idea, that you have your Google Doc or Word document set up and ready with your AP ID and your initials. That way, when the clock starts ticking, you just open up that document and you start working on it. Remember, good writers always brainstorm first. So you're going to want to make sure that you're reading through the documents first, and there are only 5 of them. You're looking for what they have in common. And, you know, you're going back and you're looking at, well, what is the writing topic? Am I supposed to be evaluating something? Am I supposed to be analyzing something? And then you're looking at the documents to see where they fit with that particular writing topic. So you guys have been working really, really hard. And I know you're going to do great. The College Board wants you to do great. They're doing everything to make this a process for you that is doable. They are interested in your success. And I'm telling you the truth when I say that you will never have an easier advanced placement exam. All you have to do is write a 5-document essay. I am so of the belief that you can do this. Okay? Good luck. I will be seeing you again before the exam, because what I want to do is I want to offer you a little, you know, a few last minute comforts and suggestions. So I'll see you again. If you have any questions, be sure you email me and ask me. Be happy to answer your questions. I hope that you have a good rest of your day. I hope that you're all safe. I hope that you're all well. I hope that your families are well. And so I'll talk to you again maybe tomorrow. Bye.